Level 1. First quote counter operator. You tap the temporary employee card against the service entrance reader of the dealership insurance booth. At the service entrance, you hold the temporary employee card for the dealership security guard. You open the payroll kiosk screen near the service entrance. You read the $32,000 per year line on the payroll kiosk screen. Past the service corridor, you walk toward the quick policy counter beside the car sales floor. You place the temporary employee card beside the rating terminal. You pull the customer buyer's driver's license through the driver's license scanner. At the quick policy counter, you enter the customer buyer's address into the rating terminal. You show the customer buyer the liability row in the state minimum coverage booklet. You keep the deductible hand calculator beside the rating terminal instead of the gray rate override button. With the customer buyer beside you, you walk toward the used sedan row on the dealership lot. You light the VIN plate with the VIN flashlight. You remove the vehicle mileage sticker from the windshield. At the used sedan row, you read the mileage from the vehicle mileage sticker. You carry the VIN and mileage back to the quick policy counter. You enter the deductible difference on the deductible hand calculator. Beside the rating terminal, you wait for the green quote line. You leave the rate rule folder inside the cashier's locked cabinet. You walk to the policy print area behind the glass partition. At the policy print area, you set a cold sandwich on a folding box of policy blanks. You pull the printed confirmation page from the policy printer. You stamp the confirmation page with the bound stamp. Before the senior cashier, you staple the policy with the policy stapler. You slide the temporary coverage card into the plastic proof of insurance sleeve. You guide the customer buyer toward the dealership cashier window. At the dealership cashier window, you attach the cashier window receipt tape to the policy envelope. You carry the policy envelope into the shift closing room behind the parts counter. You open the issued policy log sheet in the plastic clip. In the shift closing room, you read the $180,000 per year line in the issued policy log. You place the declined application into the quote denial folder. You lock the temporary employee card inside the plastic shift drawer. Beside the locked shift drawer, you understand your route ends at data entry. In the shift closing room, you stand with the temporary employee card beside the locked shift drawer. Level 2. Licensed Neighborhood Agency Producer. You park the personal compact car near the neighborhood insurance agency storefront. At the storefront, you attach the magnetic agency sign to the door of the personal car. You open the agency door with the agency license card. You place the agency license card in the holder near the storefront. Inside the meeting room with carrier market map, you open the producer license folder. You sign the $58,000 per year line on the commission plan page. You insert the comparative rater login token into the comparative rating terminal. At the carrier market map, you circle the garaging zip code on the zip code territory map. You mark defensive driving on the discount checklist sheet. You turn the comparative rating terminal toward the driver customer. Before the driver customer, you explain the carrier slot from the comparative rating terminal. You walk with the driver customer into the customer parking lot behind the agency. In the customer parking lot, you press the customer key fob. You check the customer license plate beside the VIN plate. You return to the meeting room with the carrier market map. At the meeting room table, you place disclosure notices into the disclosure notices envelope. You return to the agency policy archive. You remove the carrier appointment statement from the appointment board. Inside the agency policy archive, you read the $720,000 per year line on the carrier appointment statement. You slide a business card into the producer card holder. You keep the carrier printout clean and use the comparative rating terminal for carrier choice. Across the street, you cross toward the bank deposit window. You sort the premium check packet at the bank window. You close the deposit bag with the metal clasp. Beside the bank deposit window, you set coffee and soup near the deposit bag. You hand the deposit bag to the bank teller. You return to the back ID card issue counter. At the back ID card issue counter, you feed the ID card through the ID card laminator. You place the disclosure notices envelope beside the laminated ID card. You hand the disclosure notices envelope to the driver customer. Near the storefront holder, you remove the agency license card. You stop at the back ID card issue counter and accept filed rates as the boundary around carrier choice. You stand with the agency license card at the back ID card issue counter. Level 3. Regional Carrier Underwriter. You step off the corporate shuttle bus near the Regional Insurance Center turnstile. At the turnstile, you tap the permanent carrier badge against the reader. You open the compensation letter inside the onboarding envelope. You read the $82,000 per year line on the compensation letter. Beyond the turnstile, you enter the renewal intake hall with the batch board. You pin the renewal batch manifest to the renewal intake board. You read the $6,500,000 per year total line on the renewal batch manifest. At the renewal intake board, you place the risk tier magnet on the manifest. You stick renewal sticky flags onto disputed pages. You highlight lapse in coverage with the exception highlighter. Before the underwriting supervisor, you scan the package barcode with the handheld barcode scanner. You walk to the vehicle photo inspection lane beside the insurance center. At the photo inspection lane, you swipe through bumper photos on the photo inspection tablet. You match the odometer photo to the renewal page. You return the photo inspection tablet to the photo inspection technician. Back through the insurance center route, you walk to the vendor data counter. You open the sealed data packet at the vendor data counter. You trace the paper violation point scale with a finger. At the vendor data counter, you place renewal sticky flags on disputed pages. You enter the fraud review pod behind frosted glass. You insert the mismatched application into the red SIU referral folder. Before the SIU reviewer, you hand over the red SIU referral folder. You carry renewal notes past the frosted glass into the regional center cafeteria. You place renewal notes on the cafeteria tray. At the cafeteria tray, you set the exception highlighter beside the renewal notes. You walk down into the secure mail cage in the center basement. Inside the secure mail cage, you insert the approved batch into the secure mail lock bag. You close the secure mail lock bag in the secure mail cage. You keep the premium cell untouched and move only the renewal batch package. Beside the secure mail lock bag, you accept the SIU handoff as your final step for suspicious applications. In the secure mail cage, you stand with the permanent carrier badge beside the secure mail lock bag. Level 4. Telematics and Scoring Analyst. You enter Telematics Lab Reception through the glass turnstile. At Telematics Lab Reception, you sign the offer amendment on the HR tablet. You read the $118,000 per year line on the offer amendment. You clip the project badge onto the lab lanyard. With the project badge visible, you tap the validation garage door. You open the OBD2 Logger Telematics Kit case on the test sedan hood. You plug the OBD2 Logger Telematics Kit into the port under the steering wheel. Inside the validation garage with pilot vehicles, you press the accelerometer calibration puck against the dashboard. You slide the signed consent card into the consent sleeve. You crush the energy bar wrapper near the validation garage. At the validation garage wall, you insert Cohort 17 card into the pilot cohort premium board. You read the $34 million per year line on the pilot cohort premium board. You place the route cone on the edge of the test road loop. Inside the test sedan, you sit beside the test driver. You press the event marker on the OBD2 Logger Telematics Kit during braking. You return to the signal cleaning room with acoustic panels. At the signal cleaning room, you circle the hard brake spike on the waveform print strip. You separate the road noise tag from the risky event tag. You pause over the waveform print strip and understand you now price from driver behavior. Inside the model validation theater, you carry the validation packet. You place the anonymized trip card beneath the model validation theater screen. You rearrange the validation packet tabs before the pricing actuary. Before the pricing actuary, you point the stylus at the lift chart inside the validation packet. You step into the privacy review booth. Inside the privacy review booth, you mask the location trace fields inside the consent sleeve. You keep raw location trace fields inside the privacy review booth. You walk into the data lock room with server racks. At the data lock room, you turn the biometric latch token. You place the cohort card into the locked release tray. You close the OBD2 logger telematics kit case beside the locked release tray. At the locked release tray, you understand only masked signal work belongs in pricing. In the data lock room, you stand with the OBD2 logger telematics kit beside the locked release tray. Level 5, Territory Rate Actuary. You cross the headquarters security bridge toward the pricing floor. At the headquarters security bridge, you open the sealed actuarial envelope. You sign the promotion letter beside the $168,000 per year line. You enter the actuarial war room with the rate indication table. On the rate indication table, you place the state rate indication binder. You open the premium exposure page inside the state rate indication binder. You read the $190 million per year line inside the state rate indication binder. Beside the state rate indication binder, you place credibility weight cards. You place the actuarial seal stamp beside the signature page. You walk into the claims archive vault. Inside the claims archive vault, you spread the loss triangle print. You mark the severity column on the loss triangle print. You walk to the territory map wall with the zip grid. At the zip grid, you run the geocode ruler across the territory map wall. You move territorial relativity pins on the zip grid. You direct the geocoding technician to check the coastal zip pins. With the loss triangle print open, you return to the actuarial war room table. You place credibility weight cards beside the rate indication table. You walk into the filing prep room with rate manual proofs. Inside the filing prep room, you compare rate manual proof pages with the state rate indication binder. You stamp the signature page with the actuarial seal stamp. You enter the mock regulator table area. At the mock regulator table, you draw objection cards. You point to the frequency page inside the state rate indication binder. Before legal counsel, you hand over the objection cards. You carry the state rate indication binder into the leadership dining alcove. Inside the leadership dining alcove, you place the leadership dining tray beside the binder sleeve. You slide the state rate indication binder into the binder sleeve. You hand the binder sleeve to the actuarial manager. Beside the binder sleeve, you accept signature responsibility for territorial pins. Inside the leadership dining alcove, you stand with the state rate indication binder. Level 6, Regulatory Rate Launch Director. You approach the business terminal departure gate with the leather folio. At the departure gate, you open the executive compensation memo inside the leather folio. You sign the $260,000 per year acceptance line on the executive compensation memo. You close the executive compensation memo inside the leather folio. With the leather folio against your side, you enter the insurance department security lobby. You clip the insurance department visitor badge onto the lapel. You place the sealed exhibit box inside the insurance department security lobby. Inside the security lobby, you keep the insurance department visitor badge clipped beside the sealed exhibit box. You walk into the insurance department hearing room. At the hearing table, you place the SERFF filing transmittal packet. You attach the transmittal tab to the SERFF filing transmittal packet. You read the $540 million per year line on the SERFF filing transmittal packet. Before the state actuary, you open rate pages. You walk into the public comment hall. Inside the public comment hall, you sort comment cards by surcharge issue. You place comment cards beside rate pages. You return to the carrier council table inside the rented war suite. At the carrier council table, you move the boxed lunch tray away from revised exhibit pages. You sign revised exhibit pages at the carrier council table. You insert the objection response tab into the SERFF filing transmittal packet. Before legal counsel, you point to the objection response tab. You direct the product analyst to carry revised exhibit pages into the hearing room. At the carrier council table, you place the carrier war suite phone receiver down after the release manager call. You enter the carrier implementation calendar room. Inside the calendar room, you mark the effective date on the wall calendar grid. You keep approved rate pages beside the wall calendar grid. You lead legal counsel toward the secure release corridor near the policy admin floor. At the secure release corridor, you swipe the release keycard. You hand approved rate pages to the product analyst for release. Inside the leather folio, you close the SERFF filing transmittal packet. You stop at the secure release corridor and accept launch responsibility for the filed rate. You stand with the SERFF filing transmittal packet at the secure release corridor. Level 7. Chief Architect of the Auto Insurance Price Machine. You step out of the service car at the closed board entrance. From the closed board entrance, you enter the headquarters boardroom antechamber. You open the director packet in the boardroom antechamber. You sign the $720,000 per year acknowledgement page inside the director packet. At the boardroom antechamber table, you close the director packet. You enter the board pricing room with the National Portfolio table. You place the National Auto Portfolio Authority book on the National Portfolio table. Inside the Authority book, you open the annual written premium page. You read the $3,400,000,000 per year line inside the National Auto Portfolio Authority book. You place the regulator heat map beside the National Auto Portfolio Authority book. Before the board chair, you place the authority marker on the annual written premium page. You gather board vote cards inside the board pricing room. With the authority marker covered by your palm, you choose Hold States from the authority book. You walk into the Catastrophe Command Center. Inside the Catastrophe Command Center, you move capital model tiles. You point the board chair toward the Hail Corridor tile. You enter the Reinsurer Treaty Room. At the Reinsurer Treaty Room, you sign the treaty slip. You hand the treaty slip to the reinsurer broker. You walk into the OEM Data Exchange Lab. Inside the OEM Data Exchange Lab, you insert the encrypted data key into the lab reader. You reject the unapproved driving field on the Exchange console. You remove the encrypted data key from the lab reader. At the executive dining room on the closed floor, you move the service tray away from market action cards. You spread market action cards by state across the dining table. You direct the state pricing lead to prepare a rate hold memo for coastal states. With board vote cards gathered, you keep the authority marker away from the market exit card. You carry the National Auto Portfolio Authority book into the Secure Portfolio Archive. Inside the Secure Portfolio Archive, you turn the vault drawer key. You place the National Auto Portfolio Authority book beside the vault drawer. You stop at the vault drawer and choose Portfolio Price Action through the authority marker. In the Secure Portfolio Archive, you stand with the National Auto Portfolio Authority book beside the vault drawer.